Hi, welcome to another episode of the Cosmic Bitch Tea. Just kidding. Well, this is actually from an IG Live, and let's call it a part 1 because this exploration and conversation with you around what I'm currently processing, the end of a 10-year close friendship. Whew. It's going to be a journey. And naturally I ramble a little bit, but really I wanted to touch on the concept of releasing attachments and why it is important to process the past pain in order to create space for the new in our lives. I delve into how I see the energetics of cord cutting, and it really can invite us back into our stories, our mirroring. And if we're really willing, we can get to that core wound and do the healing internally around that while pulling back from the projection onto the other person and removing ourselves from the situation. So when that happens, when we take that accountability with the cord cutting, that's where we shift timelines. That's where the magic of the transformation really is. It doesn't end with taking space from this person or cutting cords, removing them from our lives energetically, physically, whatever it might be. That's just the beginning. That's an indicator to the universe that, okay, I'm ready to really look at this pattern here. And then you're going to be given many opportunities to reaffirm a new pattern. So oftentimes, and I'm going to have Erica on here at some point. We're just going to chat, and I'm sure this will come up. She's been witness now to my cord cutting and energy work, and she's like blown away by what happens in physical reality. So I'm going to have her just come on. I'm not even going to talk too much about it, but when we decide to cut cords and we're saying to the universe, like, I'm done, let's do it, physical reality is going to shift, but it's still going to take your action. So for instance, very common when someone cuts cords, that person or situation that you're cutting cords with often loops back. And it's like this other opportunity to confirm, I'm real about letting this go. I'm real about changing this pattern within myself and choosing the boundary again, or not, or maybe not, maybe just reflecting on all that you felt and going for it again. I've done that. And then, typically you swing back around and you're back. You're never back at square one. I don't believe in that. I believe cord cutting is layers and layers and layers, like an onion, like everything, like a cosmic onion. If you are super visual like me, you literally just saw a big fucking onion floating in outer space. So anyway, in this episode, I share some personal stuff about the friendship breakup and, of course, emphasizing the process of setting boundaries and choosing what we want in our lives. And a big reflection of this is we can do the energy work all day, the cord cutting, the quantum work, which I believe is like 96.7% of manifestation, creation, whatever. But we also need to channel that into the 3D and have our actions support our quantum intention. And there's a lot of processing in between those two things. And taking the step can be scary, like saying no again to this person or walking away, right? But that is what puts us on a new timeline, okay? A new patterning. And what I'm about to say could sound very cold, but if you know me, you know that's not what I mean. Through my work, I have the ability to zoom out and see everything as a pattern. I mean, that's a part of my psychic work, part of my channeling. That's how ETs see everything. It's patterns, it's energy. So when I'm looking at a difficult relationship, I'm now able to see it as a pattern and really look back. Where has my behavior and my patterns, my actions, my thoughts, my beliefs, all of this creating a pattern, attracted this pattern, this person, this relationship? And do I want to keep going? And I look at people and relationships as patterns. And it's true, if you're hanging out with people who are constantly projecting certain patterns, let's say patterns of saying I'm broke and then just having no money and complaining and being mopey, you can have all the compassion in the world for them. But the truth is they're reflecting a pattern within you unless you choose otherwise. That's just one little example, but anyway, I think it's a good episode. I think this is a really amazing topic. I think it's a powerful topic. My intention here, as I spill a little tea, is to take everything I experience and look at it as a teacher, as a guru, and hopefully share with you in the form of a teaching and share with you in the way that you can take these concepts and apply them to your life and see a difference. See a change, feel more empowered in your life force. In this episode, I refer to one of my Cosmic Kundalini workshops from August called Release and Attract. It's not open for sign up right now, but heads up, I am putting together this freaking crazy ass workshop bundle that includes Release and Attract for Black Friday. So keep an eye out for that. The workshop, it's going to be all of my workshops that I've ever done since the beginning. So Meet Your Galactic Family was my first workshop ever, 3 years ago online, all the way up until my most recent. I'm putting them all together in one bundle for, at the very least, 75% off. So right now, each one individually sells for $27 to $47 each. And I believe that there's 15 I'm putting in there. And the price point, it's going to be, if I do 90% off, it's going to be like $33. If I do 75% off, it'll be $80. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some like little staggered thing, but keep an eye out because that is honestly like epic. And I'm so proud of my workshops and they're amazing. All right. Anyway, that's it. In the show notes, you'll see links to a cord cutting meditation that I also refer to, and it can get you started on your cord cutting journey. I love you. I love your feedback. I love connecting with you. If you're here listening, you're literally my fucking favorite because my podcast is so close to my heart. Thank you for being here. Leave a comment. If you repost or if you listen and you got something out of it, post it on your stories. I'll repost it. I'll follow you. We'll chat. You can always also comment under the episode on Spotify, which I love. Leave a review on Apple. All of the things mean so much to me and really help get my work and our work, what we believe in, out into the world because I think it matters. Okay, bye. Hello. I haven't done a little random live in a while, and I was about to just hit record on my podcast, but I was like, I may as well video it also. And today I'm going to be chatting with you and whoever comes and myself and whoever reads this or sees this whenever, about relationship patterns, the mother wound, boundaries, idiot compassion, and I don't know, whatever else. I'm sipping my not organic, not healthy, not enlightened descent starseed fucking drink, okay? I'm drinking a fucking Celsius. I don't give a fuck. Because I believe in caffeine sometimes. A lot of times. I just believe in living. I don't know. So I'm in the Wegmans parking lot. I'm having a Celsius before the library because it activates my frontal cortex, and for ADHD, that shit's important, okay? I believe that caffeine and the occasional, using things wisely and appropriately can be very beneficial and help me, in particular, take my message out into the world in a more focused way, because turns out that's important. So, anyway, let's talk about the concept of release and attract, which was the topic of a workshop that I offered in August. It was a Cosmic Kundalini workshop, engaging us, the participants on all levels, to get really deep and really honest about held patterns in the nervous system, the body, the emotional body, the auric fields, the mind. Okay, patterns, to release these past patterns that are painful in order to attract something new. So a willingness to slow down and process past pain that is still creating our vibrational set point, creating the patterning in which physical reality presents itself to us, acknowledging that. And in the acknowledgement of that, in the emotional processing and moving of that, that alone changes things. But then to also say, and I'm ready to sit with whatever this means. And I think that's the true meaning, purpose, and power of a common topic. At least I see it a lot. Maybe it's just my algorithm, but there's a popularity in witchy stuff and new age stuff. And, I think it's great. I do. I'm done being, in the past, I've been that little sassy sass from like, ew, all the stuff that I've been into so popular now. Like, okay, little ego, cute, do my own healing, get over it. The more the merrier. So cord cutting, it can be interpreted through the mind that it's removing a cord and like, then that person's just gone and it's good. What it actually is, truly, energetically, and I share this because I visually see energy and how these things work. So through the years, I've been able to like just understand it in a different way that helps me, and I imagine would help other people. So when cutting cords, the story often that brings us to cutting cords is they're bad, they did something wrong, they did something to hurt me, I'm done, fuck them. Which, valid, okay? What actually happens is a step further and much more powerful, because I do believe that anger and fire is a step towards, it's an opportunity, I'll say, that not many people take to really look at the projections and reflections and where I'm projecting pain and making the story me versus them. So just being open to all of that. So when we cut cords, what it is, it's taking, the way I see it, okay, a lot of it's in the solar plexus, but whatever, could be all over. It depends on the situation. So you have these cords, okay, with relationships with other people. And it's not that when you cut them off, they're like, what happens is it boomerangs back. That's what happens. It boomerangs back, and there's an opportunity for looking in the mirror and processing the pain to its root. And it's an acknowledgement that first, before we can pretend to forgive, pretend to be love and light, like all that shit, the anger is valid, and tending to the core wound is valid. So it's not that that person, like, it's just the cord cutting, what it does is it like stops the projection. And that's where the deeper healing is. So let me explain in a personal experience. And I find as a 3-5 line in human design, I'm a 3-5 emotional projector, I do really well with sharing a personal story and then extracting the collective teaching message out of that. In the past, I've convinced myself, oh, it's because I'm just selfish and self-obsessed with myself, which sure, maybe who isn't a little bit, but overall it is how I teach through story. So for example, I've had a friendship for over 10 years, definitely considered one of my dearest, closest friends. Thought we'd be friends forever. A lot of love there, a lot of experience together there. So if you're seeing this and watching this and you've experienced the breakup of a friend, I mean, I experienced this like romantic breakup. I experienced this so profoundly painfully, right? And so maybe you do as well. Anyway, so through the years, this person has done some things to me and said some things and acted in ways that aren't really nice, aren't what I would consider a loyal, trustworthy friend. But one thing that we bonded over and could really see each other on was we were very open talking about our trauma and our mother wounds and our patterns. And I can't say that this person isn't self-reflective. And yeah, and so I would always be like, okay, well, I know why she said that to me, so I can, I'm okay. I have so much compassion for her for what she's been through. I see exactly why she's treating me like this or why her relationships play out like that. And through the years, even a couple other friends have said to me, like, why do you let her do that? Or like, why do you let her get away with saying these things? And I just kept letting it be okay and brushing under the rug some of my standards that started to develop through the years. So this summer I got pretty face to face with some pretty real deal childhood trauma, learning about some generational trauma stuff in my family. And it was hard. It was really honestly one of the most difficult summers of my life. And I was sitting with, at the time, her and I were still whatever. And I was reflecting on my mother. Now, I will say that I will always love my mother. I will always have an incredible amount of compassion and empathy for my mother and what that woman has been through. And that's taken a lot of work to healthily process my anger and be able to have compassion for her. Now, there's that piece. And then there's also the piece that I can have all of that love and understanding and compassion for why she acts a certain way, why I've been treated a certain way, why she says and does certain things that I don't feel are respectful or truly kind, and start to say, no, I don't have to get treated like that anymore. I'm no longer a child. I'm an adult now. So I get to choose what I allow in and how I'm spoken to. how honest the people are around me, how willing people are to admit pain and faults and, get deep. How willing someone is to take accountability for their behaviors and their actions. I'm not perfect. I have my own trauma, and it comes out a lot in my romantic relationship with Kenny. Luckily, he is someone who is so willing and available and honest to look at that with me and get deeper and deeper and deeper in the safety and trust of the container of the relationship. And I feel like that's also something that can be carried over into standards for friendship. So coming back to the idea of patterns, I don't know if you'll believe this or not, but the day that I taught the Release and Attract workshop is the same day that this friend I'm referring to and I had the conversation that would lead to her pretty much ghosting me and planning on never talking to me again. And I remember teaching the workshop. And when I teach something, and when I'm marketing something, when I'm selling something, I believe that I'm being called to deeper than ever before practice what I preach and embody what I believe. I think that's a piece of my marketing and business that also creates success, because it's just so true to me. And I don't mean to toot my horn more and more, but regardless, I remember teaching that workshop and being like, holy fuck, I'm committing right now to heal a pattern that's going to rock my fucking world. The initial pattern of, imagine being a child. I remember being a child and not understanding my mother's emotion, just behavior. So we're talking borderline stuff here, and physical, stuff towards me, and just, so as a child, you can see how I kind of formed the pattern. And I offer you a reflection in your childhood and your patterns and your relationships with people. The pattern of okay, I see why she's doing it. Something upset her. Maybe it was me. So I'll be careful. But then as I grew, it's more like, okay, I just know she's unstable, so I'll let her do that because I know her mom was shitty, and I'll just have love for her. But I didn't know how to say, no, I don't get treated that way. So finally I realized, holy fuck, this friend, it's been the same thing. And I don't think I was ever going to be willing to end it myself. And so the universe blessed me with the experience of this pattern just removing itself. She ghosted me. And the reasoning behind it, after Samhain, because I requested closure with Samhain, so the cord cutting ceremony. I knew it was going to blow up. I knew I was going to get the truth and it was going to hurt worse than ever, but I knew it's what I needed to move on and commit to a new pattern. So when I did ask this person, finally, after 3 months of this person not talking to me, after we've up to a week before we're talking every day for years. So I took a few months just to be okay, well, if this person can just kind of ghost me and blow me off after all of this time and the depth of our relationship, then I really need to question anyway what this is, and if I want to be with someone in a friendship who has that much difficulty communicating and having respect. And again, compassion for the behavior. I get why, because I know so much about her, why she would act like this. compassion for the behavior, but figuring out inside of myself, I'm allowed to actually say no. And so before I even reached out, like last week, whatever it was, after 𝗬𝗨, I had already decided in myself, whatever the reasoning or excuse that comes out, I'm walking away. And that's not an easy place to get to when you love someone and you're attached to the past and the stories and the idea of the future and love for them. And also being involved in a community where, you know, at this point, I'm like, I've heard, I do have a little bit of reputation for being a bitch with boundaries. And I'm proud of myself. If someone does something that is dishonest, manipulative, and stuff I don't want in my life, then I'm okay just being like, no, I don't associate with that person. Period. Not that complicated. I also have a reputation. Someone a bit ago said to my best friend, they were like, are you hanging out with Kirsten? She's like, yeah, like, we're best friends. Here's the best. And they said, you know, and this isn't someone that like I talk to or even like or care about, but they were like, you know, I don't know if they said they admire or give it to her that she says she doesn't give a fuck what she, you know, about saying what's honest. And I'm proud, you know, I have pride in that dislike me all you want, but you get what you get, and I will love you fiercely, you know, if we're on the same page of loyalty and whatever. So, sorry, I lost myself a little bit. What was I saying? Oh, it takes a lot of just reflection, honesty, willingness, commitment, action to start to merge into a new timeline. A new timeline is just a new pattern, and you start one pattern at a time. So I got my ass handed to me. Fucking handed to me this summer. Woo! But you know what? This past winter, I prayed for a little shift. I was like, something's gotta give. And when I'm feeling a little beat up, when I'm feeling a little victimized by circumstances, I take a hard fucking look at myself at the same time. With compassion, with love, with honesty. Yeah, and when you ask for change and when you start to take the small action to get it, be ready for it. Oh my God, my sister just joined. Now I'm going to freeze up. She's my best friend. She knows who I am, but hi, Brianna. Yeah, so what did I talk about? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people can relate right now. So we just exited 𝗬𝗨, which I guess, does it always align with eclipse season? Someday I'll be like better at that, but you know, 𝗬𝗨 is the time to cut cords, but cutting cords is a willingness to reflect and sit in the pain of projection, sit in the pain of your own story. And what's so interesting too is I did the quantum inner child technique on it that I use. And if you're wondering, like, what am I talking about? This is just the stuff that I teach, energetics, okay? Cutting cords with Kundalini is what I did. And basically in the free workshop, releasing the patterns and attracting new. It's no joke. It's no joke. Yeah. So let's take a collective breath together. Straight spine. closing the eyes. Deep inhale through the nose. Pausing at the top. Focus on the third eye. Slow exhale out the nose. Again, inhale through the nose. Big breath in all the way to the top. Pause. Focus at the third eye between the brow point. Slow exhale through puckered lips. Now inhale through the puckered lips. Close the mouth, slight pause. Hold. Slow exhale out the nose. Unfortunately, that is the end of the episode, as when I was doing my IG Live, my phone got so hot, it turned off and said the temperature was too hot. So that was my little indicator that it was a good time to pause, because I could imagine myself, even after the breath work, just starting to get fiery. So look out for, this is going to be quite a process, and I'm going to be sharing it with you along the way. Make sure you subscribe, reach out to me, and hit up the show notes. I love you. Bye.